And welcome back. We are in our third Terran vs. Protoss of the day. It is starting off to the bottom right in the red with the Prime player. It's Byun.
Byun Prime, and he is up against a Protoss player starting to the top left in blue. It is the Terminator, aka Sung.
Look at that. I don't even know if that's yellow or green.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm like not sure actually. I think it's green, kind of.
Yeah. It's definitely new.
It's definitely new,
and I don't really know if I like it.
I just all I'm concerned about right now is that yellow or green.
You know, with Byun, the yellow one that he wears, that actually looks really good.
It looks really good indeed. I totally agree. But this one, I don't know if I like it, but I just really want to know if it's yellow or green, and I'm leaning towards green right now.
You know, I think this is one of those icebreaker jackets. You walk around and there are 1,000 girls that want to know if that's yellow or green.
Yeah, they're like, wait a minute.
Hey, you there? Wait a second. What color is that?
Exactly.
And then you're like, oh, this.
He like pulls out the 1024 crayon box, and he pulls out the specific color. He's like, don't you know? Green, yellow? And like, he like shows the crayon. He's like, you know, yellow, green. He's like, it's not that. It's green, yellow.
And he's like, well, that's actually really easy to tell with my jacket, but you see the color of my underwear. Best pickup line ever.
Yeah. Then he like adds a 6 to the. He's got the 5, the undefeated logo. He like puts a 6 logo next to it. And he's like, yep.
That's me.
An extra tally. It actually does kind of look like the yellow-green that you get in the Crayola box, I guess, if you think about it. I don't know.
It might also just be on a monitor, you know?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, on our monitor, there's a green line, in fact, that cuts through him, and it looks less green than that, so it makes me lean towards yellow a little bit, but
it's gonna bother me all day.
Well, I'm just gonna look at him in the light after this, and then I think I'll be able to figure it out. If I can't, then I'll be living in an entirely new world.
You know what's kind of funny, by the way, talking about Terminator and for once not focusing on his weird jacket?
Yeah.
Every game against Terran that he played so far, he lost. He didn't win a single map against Terran. He lost to Happy, he lost to Hard in the up and downs, and he lost to Pole without winning a map in the 3rd round of Code A. So, not the best indicator for him coming into this game against a very strong Terran player, especially since Byun is playing in his best matchup here with a 56% win ratio against Protoss. He's doing a pretty decent job, and 2 of the last opponents that he defeated were actually Trap and Harding. So, oh wow, Proxy Robo.
He's going to actually just do. Well, at first I thought he was just going to do a 4-gate, but now I think he's going to do a Colossus all-in. Because he has double gas.
Going a little bit for...
And you know what? If I knew what color his jacket was, I would have noticed this before. Well, he actually is adding another gateway right now. What is he really going to do?
Yeah, is it going to be the Warp Prism, or will we actually see him with an advanced tech hidden at the bottom left? On a map like this, he knows that this is not going to be scouted anytime soon. I mean, why would you send one of your SCVs to the left side of the map?
I think I figured it out. I think he's going to do 3 gates. With the extra gas he has, he'll have more ability to make. That's not what I expected.
Yeah, he's going for the proxy.
I was like, I basically had it all figured out. I was like, okay, he's going to be able to work with more stalkers because he has 2 gas. He'll have some sentries as well. It all makes sense. But
complete.
What if he...
Upgrade complete.
Guys, I'm so sorry. Detective Wolf just lost another case.
I know. This is driving me nuts. But what if he... you know, on this map, there's no real secondary ramp. You just bust through that depot, or rather bunker. Byun is going to have to realize what's going on as soon as he sees no natural and make a second bunker. Second Immortal is being chrono boosted right now. People in StarCraft 2 have found out that the Immortal is a pretty strong unit that you can use for attacks in the early game.
I would say so. Harding told them.
Yeah.
Harding was like, guys, you can actually use this not only against Zerg.
He's like, he's like, the name in English is Immortal. He's like, that means it can't die.
Well, the way parting micros is immortals is actually true.
Yeah, it's very true.
But Terminator, on the other hand, he has 2 of them, and he's up against 2 bunkers. If he actually hurries a little bit, he might be only up against 1.
I think he can bust through the first one for sure. Look at those immediate force fields. Guardianship goes up as well. And he's got to target down the second one now as well. The force shields are good. Needs to target that immortal. There he goes. And he's demolished the bunker. He needs another round of warpings to finish the game, though.
Terminator doing a decent job here, warping in more Stalkers now, and Byun is in full retreat, trying to get away here. The big problem is he does not have anything on top of the ramp. He finally has the first rod, and it might help him a little bit against the Stalkers, but against the Immortal, it's gonna be very tricky.
He could quarter boost out an Observer, or even a Warp Prism to help out here. You know, in these types of situations, I'm so surprised people make an Observer instead of a Warp Prism, because the Warp Prism is going to give you high ground vision, and it's going to have more hit points than an Observer, and he's just going to scan and kill your Observer. Like, if you have a Warp Prism, it gives you high ground vision and reinforced, and you can Elevator with it. Just a thought. But, I think at this point he can just contain and make a Nexus if he wants to, but he's going to try to go for the kill.
Yeah,
which I don't blame him for.
Takes down the one supply depot at the top. The one bunker is, of course, still a bit of a problem for Terminator here. On the other hand, now that he was able to force the natural off, he can also just fall back into an expansion play. I don't really think that he's going to try.
He needs to get...
Well, he is actually building the Nexus, yeah.
With the Observer, he's going to start picking off these units. Oh!
Uh-oh.
Before the Observer's there, you can't stand like that.
Well, there it is now. There's the Observer. He needs to be careful, but still... What is Byun gonna do? He can't really walk down the ramp. And it's gonna take an eternity for him to get,
Yeah, the medivacs are gonna take forever, exactly right. That Zealot gets put in a bad spot. Spent a lot of resources to kill that depot. He loses 2 Zealots for it.
He loses a lot of SCVs too.
Yeah.
It's not only about the Zealot, sorry, about the supply depots that he's losing here. But he's losing so many depots, and there's the scan. Yeah, you talked about it.
The Warp Prism, I think, would be much better or much more useful in this case. Yeah, the Observer is invisible, but that's all it has over the Warp Prism. Warp Prism even has, recently added a bunch of hit points.
Terminator now with 27 probes to 29 SCVs, but he soon will be able to saturate 2 mineral lines, have the double Chrono boost available, and he also adds additional attack with the Twilight Council now. So this position for Byun is a very tricky one. He had to retreat with his army, and now he's completely contained.
Yeah, I don't think Terminator should try to run up here. I don't think he will either. He's probably just gonna drop a course and walk back very soon.
He definitely shouldn't. For now, he is still in a position where he can do damage. He needs to save this Observer though, and if he gets too aggressive with it, I feel there's gonna be another scan, and then the high ground vision will be gone.
Yep. He's got to be very careful. At the very least, he's keeping it on the edge, which I like. A little bit edgy.
Yeah, Observer. There's another Observer headed to the bottom right now.
Yeah, that was that weird noise that you guys heard.
Yeah,
but
but
Observers talk to each other, they're like porpoises.
Terminator is actually doing a great job here. Now finally we have the first 2 medivacs out. This is the time for him to slowly retreat, but he has the expansion ready. He has the better harvest account now.
Yeah, he's getting his upgrades out for it. That scan is a lot of economy lost as well, don't forget. He almost walked the Observer into that scan. Forces the ramp awkwardly and is going to walk back. He's not comfortable anymore. Byun's going to try to catch him on a flank. No, he can't do it. His other units are not there in time. He actually gets in here. Oh, that was really intense. Byun almost lost a lot there. I thought he was going to try to bring his units from the main, but he didn't do it in time.
Terminator is getting farther ahead in the game. The harvest account, let me have a quick look at that. 39 to 31. Now we have the orbital command and the low ground again, but Terminator already in a good position, heading towards the first upgrade, nearly completed. Goes for the blink, so he can now intercept medivacs as well if he spots them early, and adding a lot more production here. Terminator is an awesome spot against Byun. This early aggression really paid her.
Yeah. He's just adding extra gates. He's in a position where now the game is his for the taking. Byun is going to have to try to make something work with his drops, but he's going to be attacking at a timing where Terminator is going to have Blink to defend and a ton of units to spread between his 2 bases. This map is pretty big. The Robo is a little bit awkwardly placed, so he won't be able to use Colossi probably this game.
You could also see in the main base now that we had extra supplies called down for Byun several times because he lost all of those supply depots, so he had to sacrifice additional energy. And this just means less fuels.
Yeah, plus the scans he used repeatedly on those Observers. Our Observer, it may not catch it, but the fight is commencing here. Yeah, these force fields are these full zones back now really nicely done. With that gap, it actually works in Crossplayer's favor.
Byun has to be careful with this.
Yeah, and now he'd actually lose everything. Stalkers can blink over that wall and chase.
The medivacs tried, but so much is lost, and a few medivacs could actually die here if Terminator blinks after this force.
Yeah,
he can take it down.
I think he was going to blink earlier. He blinked back for some reason. That was really strange, but now he can blink forward again. Takes out the Marines rather than the medivacs. Smart choice.
Byun is really up against the wall now.
Yeah, and the Zealots that were warping earlier are actually going here for a flank. Those aren't Zealots. In fact, they're Stalkers he went for. He wants to catch the medivacs. He will get one.
Yeah, he takes out the medivac, kills the Marauder and the Marine, and now he's on his way. The army supply is, of course, in his favor. He's currently looking at 51 against 38, and this doesn't look good for Byun. He even pulls all of his SCVs off the mineral line.
Charge is done here. The Stalkers and Zealots are at 1-1 versus just +1 for Byun. There's a lot of medivacs here, just not a lot underneath them.
Terminator with an army supply lead and also an overall supply lead, now trying to fight against this. Byun trying to hold somehow, but Terminator with a decent blinker getting into a good position. All the SCVs being cut to shreds by those Zealots, and in the end Terminator has to back off for now. But Byun is losing so much here.
Look at how well he deals with this, though. It just goes to show there's no area of effect damage. You have this many medivacs. Marines are pretty good against Stalkers.
Yeah,
Stalkers just don't do that much damage.
But if you look at the discrepancy in the harvest account, 28 to 48, even with the mules, that's going to be a problem. And
plus
of course,
the upgrades.
Exactly, the upgrades thanks to Terminator's economy.
This is again a kind of a weird decision I feel by Terminator to try to fight Shaman count this. Never in a million years. Even with the upgrade advantage.
I feel he should just have fallen back and then work with his advantage that he had.
I think what we're seeing here actually is a lack of experience as a Kespa player about how many Stalkers it takes to beat a Marine force with that many medivacs. Medivac count right now is getting insanely high. I think he has 8 medivacs. That's too many to fight against a pure Marine force. The Marine DPS is insane. The Stalker DPS is terrible as far as how long it takes to kill a unit because they fire so slowly. You need Zealots to be there with your Stalker to fight like that. And Byun is still in this to a certain extent.
Yeah, you're right. He's in this to a certain level, but now Storm is one of the elements that Terminator will have over his opponent. And the upgrades, of course, are going to be a huge factor in the next fight.
He better get his Stalkers out of here again. He almost lost some there.
You know, we just now have the +1 armor upgrade started for Byun, and he's really falling behind in the upgrade count. This will give Terminator's army another advantage, especially with Storm now done, and there are no ghosts for Byun. He doesn't have a Ghost Academy. In fact, he doesn't have anything against Area of Effect.
Yeah, but with a very Marine-heavy army, this is going to be tough.
And Terminator takes the 3rd base.
This is going to be tough for him to hold up Byun. But I think Byun is going to see that. This, even if he does find it, that gives Byun exactly what he needs, or rather Terminator, he needs to get that Storm out.
Yeah, does he have High Templars? I think he does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Okay, so he has a few High Templars, he has Storm done, and with the SCVs that Byun just pulled, he is really trying to do a lot of damage here, but against the Storm, it's going to be tough.
Now the Storm goes down, it's very good here. The second one is basic game finishing. Zealots run in. He wants to chase his army down. Byun just doesn't have enough. The medevac count is high, but his army is too small.
There are 13 SCVs left. This is it. Terminator takes a lead against Byun 1-0. Really well done.
Yeah. And people watching this, there's some happy fans here in the studio. I think there were a lot of weird things about that game for sure, but in the end, even with Terminator having some awkward engagements, he got so far ahead with his immortal push that Byun could not recover.
The strategy that he chose in the beginning gave him a lead, and even though some of the engagements might not have been the best, he was so far ahead that he defeated Byun, took game number 1, did a really good job here. So now we are heading into the second game in just a few seconds, which will actually be on Daybreak. And then we'll see if the Prime player can get back into the best-of-3 series. So far, one Prime player is already out back in Code B. It's classic. And Byun, I don't know, heading into this game, I mean, especially with the record the Terminator has against Terran, I felt that Byun has a huge advantage, but he is down a game. And if he loses another map, then he's back into Code B.